Friendly friend broadcast. Read the description of the broadcast as well. Like it. That is your own offering for joining us. Like the broadcast before you forget, just once. Then share it. Invite your friends, invite your not so friendly friends, and tell them to join us because Maiyegun is live. Maiyegun today. And if you have done all of that, 2 thumbs for you. Thank you. So the latest from Pastor Bakare, among many others who have tried in their own dubious ways of explaining away what is happening in Nigeria by avoiding the direct, responsibilities themselves. In this regard, Pastor Bakare, like others, have now kind of like added his own voice, put it that way. So he broadcasted from his church yesterday, and a broadcast called the State of the Nigerian Nation, a further reaction to Donald Trump's tweet, since Donald Trump designated or redesignated Nigeria as a country of particular interest. A series of events have happened up to this moment. But like others who have tried to sway the public opinion in a different direction, rather than a united front to counter these jihadists, Islamist jihadists, who have been killing Nigerians in a more genocidal way, targeted killings. So rather, these divisive opinions, or that they call them diverse, but they are pretty much like a deviation, by the way. So United States of America, that's USA, is the biggest, should we say the largest oil producer on earth today. Nigeria is struggling to stay afloat and produce according to Kolu, they said they are currently producing 1.5 million barrels a day. In the United States of America, they are producing over 20.1 million barrels of crude oil every day. And if you get to know, Dangote refinery in Nigeria buys its own crude oil from Houston, Texas, in the United States of America, in order to be able to keep his refinery working when the corrupt criminals in charge of Nigeria have mortgaged your supposed oil. So Tunde Bakare, in his address, said Donald Trump's interest in Nigeria has escalated things. However, it is not out of love. It is coming from the position of interest that Donald Trump and Americans are actually targeting Nigerian oil. A very cheap, I usually call it a very stupid argument, by the way, but in order not to kind of downplay, some of you who probably feels like you are intelligent enough to see what others are not saying. So I won't downplay it too much, but it's kind of absurd when you compare things for what they are right now, okay? So Tunde Bakare, in addressing Nigerians in what he called the State of the Nation address, right? The first part, so that we can do it quick. All right? Here.
A word is enough for the wise. Fellow citizens, since Friday, October 31, 2025, our country has found itself in the center of an unfolding storm. It began with the announcement by President Donald Trump of the United States redesignating Nigeria as a country of particular concern. When I first heard CPC, I thought it was a party that we killed to form APC. It was CPC. Nigeria became a country of particular concern over allegations of a government-oriented killing of Christians. The U.S. president's subsequent threat to come into our country, guns are blazing, to undertake what he described as a fast, vicious, and swift attack on terrorists has jolted a hitherto sleeping giant into sudden frenzy. Within the same period, the existential dangers that once lurked beneath the surface of our national life are now breaking through, demanding urgent attention, even as terrorists intensify their threats and attacks against the Nigerian state. From the ambush of troops of the 25 Task Force Brigade in Borno State by the Islamic State of West Africa Province, ISWAP, in which Brigade Commander M. Uba and 3 others were killed, to the attack on Government Girls Comprehensive Secondary School in Maga, Kebbi State, in which dozens of schoolgirls were abducted and the vice principal killed, to the attacks on Christ Apostolic Church, Eriku, Ekiti local government area in Kwara State, in which dozens of worshippers were kidnapped, to the kidnapping of hundreds of students from St. Mary's Catholic School in Papiri Town, Niger State, all in the space of 1 week. The level of insecurity seems to have worsened in response to this global focus on Nigeria as terrorists and bandits brazenly dare the Nigerian state. While we rejoice at the release of some of the kidnapped victims, including the Kebbi school girls and the Kwara church worshippers, as well as the escape of some of the pupils kidnapped in Papiri, Niger State, the secrecy-shrouded circumstances of their release leave more questions.
Yeah, leaves more questions than answers. So what Bakare was pretty much retorting there is that, number one, the Donald Trump's threat, or should we call it interest in Nigeria, has somehow awakened the sleeping giants. You get me now? The sleeping giants in Nigeria leadership, which for a long time have pretended like, you know, things were all right. However, this interest is not primarily for, you know, the people being killed, but mostly for our resources. Well, like the usual way to keep you somehow, like, I don't know, confused, right, is telling us about the happenings, all this that happened after Donald Trump, as if to say the ones that happened before Donald Trump's interest or focus on, or this what you call the global focus on Nigeria, right? So all that happened back then, they were not really too much of interest to those who are telling us that Donald Trump's interest has now triggered like more attacks. So what you're saying there is that after Donald Trump's statement, it is like the terrorist, right, became more and you know, daring enough that they were like daring the government to do their worst, indirectly saying if Donald Trump had kept quiet, maybe all of this wouldn't have happened. But at the same time, him not keeping quiet somehow as well has made the Nigerian government, Tinubu's government and the rest of them running at us to try to find a way to appease Trump. But there is more.
Leave more questions than answers. Who ordered the withdrawal of the military from the Kebbi school about 45 minutes before the attack? What agreements were negotiated with the bandits? And what concessions were made to secure the release of the abductees? The continuing attacks on communities further underscore the need for fundamental interventions that go to the very essence of our nationhood and the quality of governance in both domestic and foreign policy contexts. Fellow citizens, in these past weeks, our beloved country, Nigeria, has endured its most humiliating international public image since the Abacha era. years of leadership failure to confront our nation's underlying crisis finally came to a head as the deteriorating state of our country drew the most despicable language ever used by a world leader to describe Africa's largest nation, with President Trump referring to Nigeria as a now disgraced country. A sudden intense flurry of activity from the Nigerian government following Donald Trump's threat only betrays the fact that before now, Nigerian leaders had buried their heads in the sand like ostriches, preoccupied with the politics of chaos and paying little attention to the real work of governance, until Donald Trump's insults jolted the sleeping giant. Nigeria's political class have been dancing on a hot stove like the experimental frog that slowly boiled to death as the heat rises. They have numbed themselves to the painful realities that ordinary citizens endure daily. It is a stain on the Nigerian government that it took the threat of external intervention to rouse leaders to their responsibilities. It's a shame on our National Assembly that it took the United States Congress, not the representatives elected by Nigerians, to convene a hearing on the lived experiences of citizens suffering under insecurity, while those in Abuja were busy with politicking, posturing for political relevance, defecting from one political party to another in their desperate maneuvers to secure their seats ahead of the 2027 elections. It's indeed a shame that Nigeria's foreign affairs architecture failed all the while to mobilize Nigeria's dwindling diplomatic goodwill to secure international support for the war on terror, only to respond with excuses when that goodwill reached its lowest ebb. Leave more questions than...
Right? I mean, I couldn't make, that was my first impression when I listened to that, is State of the Nation address. Because I'm like, okay, yeah, we are aware of all of that. You are among the people who are helping. On the part, he said, the language Donald Trump has used on Nigeria is such an humiliating global embarrassment for a country like Nigeria, which is actually true. Okay. That somebody of that global status, like the president of the United States, calling Nigeria a now disgraced country, is Nigeria not disgraced enough with all these things happening? How do you really think the rest of Africa, how do you really think they see Nigeria in the last 10 years of Nigeria? Do you really think they are not even like embarrassed on Nigeria's behalf, if we are being honest? Anyway, so global embarrassment since Abacha's time. But he is a friend to Tifnumbu. The last time he did his State of the Nation address, that people are hungry, people are starving, the blah, the blah, economy is downtown, they are killing people, the blah, the blah. He went to Lagos to go and see Tifnumbu. When he was interviewed, he said he was never, he's offered this advice, something like that to Tifnumbu. So right now, he's just telling us how he probably feels because of Donald Trump's statement, right? Because things remains the same. The more things changes, the more they remain the same. So he credited Tifnumbu's regime of doing, he said, oh, now they are doing everything to try to get things back in order. What are they doing? What exactly would you say they are doing? Today is 1st of December. Sorry for those of you who are going to be watching replay, by the way. The 1st of December, today alone. they've had reports of series of reports of attacks on people. I mean, on the people who are traveling, like the travelers, and then you've had attacks on few communities. And I've got few clips too. Just today, there's a place called or a road called Oshoko, so Obajana Road around the Kogi State. Travelers were made to actually stop because terrorists were operating ahead.
Everybody see what is happening here. This is Oshoko at Kogi State between Kaba and Obajana. We are all stuck here. You can all see what is happening here. From here, no movement. So everywhere we have been here for more than 3 hours. Kidnappers are taking over the road. We don't know what to do. We don't know where to go. You can see. Please, if there is any way to rescue Nigeria out of this, please. Everywhere is on fire. Everywhere is on fire. Soldiers and all these bandits, they are exchanging fire presently. Honestly, everywhere is stuck here. The whole Nigeria, please come and save us here. We are in trouble here. We are all in trouble here. See, everybody parked. Nobody is moving. Between Kaba and Obajana, this place is Oshoko. Kidnappers have taken over the road. Please, presently we are there. Please, everybody.
Like it's like a regular thing on social media right now. Yeah, there is a global attention because of Trump fine, right? But this, I mean, people have always been like sharing all these happenings. But those in government, from local government to the presidency of Nigeria, they have dedicated their time and more resources to ensure that stories like this are either debunked or they are buried entirely. And these are lives that are being taken. Like you'll be hearing, oh, they took 30 people here. They took 38 people there, killed 2 here. Even in Kano right now, they are beginning to feel these Fulani terrorist, attacks too. Like it's becoming a thing like the Boko Haram days, even in Kano, the supposed commercial capital of northern Nigeria, I believe. So they are doing everything to make sure that it's buried. Like, it's not that bad, rather than actually call for help. Meanwhile, behind the scene, like what we have been notified of already anyways, that they are doing everything right now, probably pretending to, right, to say that they are going after these terrorists. But the problem right now is these terrorists have spread all over the country. They have all their cells all over the country. That's what makes it even more like, I don't know what to call it, like more even dangerous. Because all they have to do now is to just activate all these cells, left, right, center, all over the place. If you get to Edo State, Delta State, what people are passing through in that place, you will think they are sharing border with Niger Republic or Chad. In Edo, this morning, this young man, Guamneshu, went on a tour where they actually got about 2 terrorists that they have been trailing from Edo State. They finally got them in Delta State. And that video got to the internet this morning. This morning, 1st of December.
Today is the 1st of December, 2025. We are here in the Urodu Benaweti.
There goes on the lights.
This is the route, you understand?
No, that one never that finish. Now you go down.
Can you pack for bag?
See, it's not a package. I want package. I think how much going.
Come here, come. This is where we trade them. This is where we trade them. This is it. This is the camp where they are. Where is? This is the camp. Switch everything. Pack everything. Fall back. Fall back. Over. This is the gun that was recovered today, 1st of December. You know, 1st of December between Delta, boundary between Delta and Edo State, Orori Igbe. Now this is the railway. Now watch and see. I keep saying that the railway and the power line is the track, so they always use it as the way. Chichi, move up, 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 move up. I want to just, yeah, this is the railway. Now watch. Go back in my head.
Hello, boss. Hello, boss. We did you guys.
Sorry about I thought I managed to reduce the graphic images there, the gory ones, but the sis got sneaked into it. Sorry about that. Now, there was this young man who have dedicated, and others who have dedicated their time to tracking these terrorists using the little resources at their own disposal. And they have actually succeeded a lot. So among those they rescued today, was Palmwine Tapa that was kidnapped from Edo State. And another person that they kidnapped as well, but they killed that one because his family could only raise 10,000 naira ransom. So they killed him. So the Palmwine Tapa got rescued by this team. So if with these little resources could actually track some handful of these terrorists, especially from the southern part of Nigeria, imagine what the genuine government involvement, like going after the terrorists for real. Every state government with the, independence of the federal government. Do you know what they could do with the resources at their own disposal? That they could clean up and sweep out the entire southern part of Nigeria in weeks. If people like this could actually, these guys have recovered ransoms, weapons, right? They've actually arrested some of these terrorists as well. But in their own way, after capturing all their operation, they hand whatever they recovered, money, guns, every other thing, including the suspect, they call them. They hand them over to either the police or the military, depends on which of them is close by, according to him. And he's been running it based on just a public support, like people like you and me, who feels like, wow, thank you, you are really doing well. So you can support them, reach out and the rest of that. But here is the thing. The terrorists, without the government cover, without the criminals who have infiltrated the system, the government, especially the APC, whose policy is to protect these terrorists, without all of that, people can handle them, but they intentionally disarm the people. And that is why you will see terrorists walking about with AK-47. And that never, for any reason, right, triggers those in government. Not even the military, not the police, none of them. But if you by any mistake should be seen to be walking about with a Glock, or you are working with a pistol, or you are, even though people will say, why are you even going about with a pistol? But that's the question. Why are these terrorists walking about with guns? What makes it right that way, if not because those in government tolerated them? So the neglect for years, the corruption, the those who have been enabling them for years have made them to spread enough that right now, majority of the people are beginning to become so apprehensive. When they see these strange people moving around their community, they will raise alarm. Like what happened in Cross River State. This is another part of the deeper part of the Niger Delta, South, they call it, right? Here is a reverend from Cross River, a reverend who felt like they could be in danger. And guess what? There was another community attacked, right? Just today, the 1st of December, in Cross River State, that drew out, that draws out people, to come and witness, and even security guys. But first, watch this.
Well, we are live here at Ijibo. As you can see, we are at Ijibo. There's a lot of pandemonium here because the Fulani men were seen this morning very close to our primary school. You can see the primary school. This is the place, the little bush behind here that they were caught with guns, heavy armed Fulani men. This is an eyewitness. One of my church leader, the leader of the charismatic. Please, can you say something to the camera? What did you really see?
We saw Fulani heavily vested with bullet, wearing loaded, with heavy guns. Heavy guns.
And you saw them camping there?
Camping just here.
A very close bush to the primary school.
So when we raise alarm, as I begin to run toward this, passing through this primary school, so in between the sickle cell, and apparently they ran to this place, and they begin to run.
Just this morning of the first day of December.
It's less than 30 minutes from where.
And you can see that the whole school is ghost silent. We have closed the school. Everywhere is absolutely empty now because of the situation. I was just called. I have to run from the parish center and come to one of my stations, Ijibo, roadside. And this is happening live. We need help. We need help. We are seriously in danger here because we know that the Fulani camps between us here and the army barracks. There is a thick forest between Ijibo and the army barrack, and most times that is where they normally camp. So assessing us here is not a problem. So their members are there. So please, we need help. You can see our school is shut down, completely shut down, and the school is adjourned to the hospital. This is the health center where they were coming behind, and this is the school. So please, we need help. We need help. You see him? Okay, you two have been there. Fulani have arrived here. We are entering the bush now.
Yeah.
Okay, now go to the other side. Okay.
Some people don't share, some people they go back to go meet some of our boys the other side.
Okay.
The manual area there.
Okay.
They never pass.
We are still moving around the forest, trying to search for them. That is the situation we are now. We are mobilized. We are not afraid. We are moving around to make sure our community is secured. Well, we are live.
Secured with cutlasses. Right. So that happened today at a place, a community called Ijibo community in a Bekwara local government area of Cross River State. You know something? Those who usually accuse us of using propaganda to exaggerate what is going on in Nigeria are no longer saying that anymore. Have you observed that? That those who used to say, you will just sit down there, you want to cause trouble in Nigeria, with all these things you are saying. Do you notice that they are barely saying that anymore? Because you don't touch close to home, or it don't touch home already for some of them. What is going on in Kwara? 6 estates. What do they call them? Those people that usually advertise if you want to buy properties in Nigeria. They have a name for them. Estate sellers or something. All these property sellers, right? In Nigeria, 6 of them were kidnapped in Ogun State 2 days ago. We are still waiting for the update on the 315 school children taken from Papiri in Niger State. The country is not even shut down looking for them. They have been telling us in pieces, oh, they rescued 50. What does that even mean? They rescued 50 out of them. Now 11 escaped, making it 61. So where are the 61 children? What did they tell you? Where did you get them? And all of that, sure you get. But they are dropping out this snippet in the news. Now it's touching everybody. Pretend for all you care. Those who used to accuse us of propaganda, exaggeration and the rest of that, they are not saying that anymore. Guess what they are doing right now? All of us need to come together. We all need to come together and face these terrorists. And I'm like, how? How do you think you and I will come together and fight these people? With what? The same terrorists that eyewitnesses have already told us, most of the communities where their presence, right, have after them, because you think the military, if they do anything anyhow, the military is going to come for them until they attack you, until they wipe out your community. So the threat is more real now, especially in the last 40 days, put it that way. When a lot of people are beginning to see that Omo is closer to Omo, they've entered church. They went to a church. You remember they've taken a pastor, his wife, and God knows how many other number, because they just gave us a 30 and 30 others taken from a church in Kogi. So in all of this, let me show you that Ijibo. Eventually the security guys showed up. Okay. So by then, what happened to the ones they arrested, the guns they got from them and all of that, we don't have the details of that. So people remained much exposed to the danger posed by these terrorists that the criminal politicians continue to negotiate with. They continue to give them money. That you shouldn't forget, that these terrorists are still being paid. When they claimed that they called, you remember what Onofunuga said? He said they called them to release the Kebi children, and the terrorists released them. They called them to release the 38 people taken from Eruku in Kwara. The terrorists released them. Hello? What happened? Did the credit finish when you want to tell them to release the 315 Papiri Niger State school children? Or what happened? Did they miss the memo when they still went on to go and kidnap another over 30-something people from another church during the church service, as well as the series of other attacks that have been recorded? It also tells you more, right? The kind of criminals that you are dealing with. The kind that the Yoruba calls Onshemi Ongbami. Onshemi Ongbami. Báwo la ṣe ń dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ ẹni tó ń ṣe ni tó tún gbà ni? For those who don't understand Yoruba, let me try to loosely interpret that. Yoruba says when you see somebody who poses as a friend, but at the same time is an enemy, they offer, they create problems. Then they offer solution to it. And at the end of the solution will never match the problem. But you still probably see them as, okay, they are trying. At least they are trying. These criminals are giving a lot of money. The money that we have no idea the amount. They are emptying the Nigerian airports to partly pay their own terrorists. And then on the other hand, they are pretending that, you know what, we are also fighting the terrorism enough that we are rescuing people. It is so conflicting. And that is the narration. I mean, sorry, that's the interpretation of Onshemi Ongbami. How do you say thank you to somebody or to people like that? How? Yesterday you paid them billions, God knows how much billions. And today, they took another set of people. After releasing the ones that they gave to you yesterday, they took another set. You're going to pay them more. What do you think they use the money for? To open schools? To build houses for the Fulani homeless people? To give them medical care? Do you think that's what they use the ransom money for? So when people are kidnapped and they are forced to pay them ransoms, that runs into trillions of naira. In case if you don't know, when we tell you that the terrorism in Nigeria is a multi-billion-dollar industry today, right? Do you know how much Nigerians paid as ransom to different terrorists? Nigerians alone, not even your government, so God knows how much. But do you know how much Nigerians paid all over the country as ransom to terrorists in 2024 alone? 1.8 trillion naira. Convert them, it go over $1 billion is a multi-billion. And guess your government. We don't even know how much your government is kind of ferrying to them as well. In some other part of northern Nigeria, billions and billions of money of naira is being ferried to these terrorists in the name of buying peace. And all of this are free flowing. They are moving like normal transactions because nobody is looking. Now it is a multi-billion-dollar industry. So when the people are being kidnapped, your government is paying. It's like they are paying subsidy for your kidnapping in Nigeria. That's like subsidy, right? They say, okay, you know what? If they kidnap 10,000 people, we'll pay ransom for 2,000. 2,000 of them. So how much is that? They say, well, 10,000 people is like about 3 trillion naira. Say, 3 trillion. Let us subsidize it. We'll pay the ransom for 3,000 people. Okay. I say, okay, 3,000 people. That means, okay, you are going to pay 1 trillion naira. So yeah, that's fine. Let's subsidize it. That's what they're doing. And at the same time, they are promising you that they are ending the insecurity. How do you end something you are funding or something you are allowed to be funded? You're not cutting off their source of funding and the rest of that. How do you want people to actually believe, any sensible person to believe that they are actually planning to end the terrorism when they are openly fraternizing with them, when they are openly bragging about calling them to release these people they kidnapped? No arrest, no shooting, no gun exchange, the rest of that for a country of 200 million people. Who do you think who do they think they are? And who do they think you are that they speak to all this while? One of them who was a CDS, right? A former CDS rather, Irabo, he was with the show this evening. And they were talking about the insecurity in the country, the blah. And then it was like, there are some politicians who are funding the terrorism in Nigeria. Hello, I have heard that more than 1 million times. Most of the time, the people that are making these allegations are those who actually have the power to go after these politicians that are funding the terrorism or financing, as they call it. But no, they just come onto the TV and tell you, some people are funding it in this country. This is not a roadside mechanical. This is somebody who sat in the room where they are sharing what they call the classified information that has to do with the national security of Nigeria for years when he was the chief of a defense staff. But now listen to him talking about this insecurity in Nigeria today and why it persists. Damn it.
Criminal or a violent person by their targets.
Correct.
And you look at the targets of recent, and that those who say, okay, let's take, and you have said that we cannot take away the external influence of what we're seeing altogether.
Correct.
For example, Mr. Donald Trump, who had said they will come to Nigeria gun blazing, and that they will, based on what they are reading, that there is a Christian genocide in Nigeria. And then you see attacks on churches. Churches are not the only ones that are being attacked, but abduction of priests in churches, abduction of traditional rulers. There are people who have been killed in Kebbi, abducted in school and all whatnot. Is there a possibility of a link that these terrorists or these bandits are listening to the political dimension. And I've spoken to politicians on this program who have said, look, Sheung, forget it. This is political. All what we are seeing in the last few weeks or so is politically driven. What do you make of those debates?
Well, somehow you can't hold people for their views. But the reality is that our issues, or in terms of security challenges, are multifaceted, implying that just as you have terrorists who have an ideology, you equally have those who are bent on, targeting Christians, and there are also those who are, also targeting communities. That is, desiring to, displace communities and wanting to stay in those communities to be able to have a voice, or perhaps that could be their bargaining chip, as it were. For whatever reason, there are different reasons. There are those who are also regarded as economic criminals and so on and so forth. So if you now just assume, or if you like, lump the entire thing to be one of those strands, then of course that would be, the analysis would be wrong. And those who also say it's political is also, again, that will be lumping all the issues to assume that all the other issues, do not matter. It's just for you to heap it at the back of the politicians. That's also not correct. That does not mean that some politicians, have not taken advantage of the insecurity, or if you like, the state of under governance, as it were, if I may use that coinage, to want to perhaps gain some form of leverage, to give impression that they can do better. Others perhaps want to give impression that, look, to score the point that there is poor governance, they could also instigate certain crises in one way or the other. So those who believe that it's purely political, maybe assuming their argument, maybe having the argument from that angle. But then, for me, as a security person, and who, of course, has seen it all, it would be wrong for
So, General, for a fact, Christians are being targeted.
Of course, some Christians are being targeted. No doubt about it.
For a fact, politicians are funding terror in this country.
Some politicians. Yeah. If I wouldn't want to say.
So when I say politicians, that means that there are the politicians who are funding it.
Of course.
But why has it been difficult for us to be able to know the names of? Why is it strategic? Is it intelligence? Or why has it been difficult for names to be named?
Well, this is not what I should come here to begin to discuss. More so that I know I'm no longer in active service, but I believe that there are a lot of individuals who are being called to question. You also recall that even whilst I was there were some trials that were made, especially for the financiers and so on and so forth. So it's not for public consumption. It's what I think we should do at this point is to give support and trust those who have been charged with such responsibilities that they will do what is right. And I think that it's our responsibility to also encourage those who are on the fence to begin to reason that, for them to know that not everybody in government is a criminal. Not everybody in government is a liar. Not everybody in government is unserious. That there are a good number of Nigerians who have the heart of delivering the mandate for which they have been appointed and the mandate for which they have been elected.
Yeah, Nigerians can be very certain that our conversation is going to be operation strategic and, of course, in some way.
Now, I don't want to be pessimistic, even though I am, but I don't want to sound the same now, okay? And at the same time, I just want to speak from the heart now, before I go into another thing. And speaking from the heart may make me start sounding as somebody who is deluded, like somebody where imagination won't want. But I'll still say it anyway. I'll start with this, right? So why is it so difficult to name names and go after the suspected people who have links to these terrorists, whether they are politicians, religious leaders, private individuals, whoever they are. Do you understand? At this point, there should be an operation that shows that, you know what, this is it. Because as the military, especially the army, Nigerian army, who have paid so dearly, man, they have killed Nigerian soldiers. Oh, if to say Nigeria is a real place, the Nigerian army should, if they actually wanted Nigerians, as we are putting it now, like Nigerians to believe in them and even join them, to show their sincerity, they have to come clean and tell the world or tell Nigerians how many soldiers they have lost to this endless, bloody jihadist war. Or should I say the jihad? Like by coming clean, you know, by that time, then you start taking the names, the list of these soldiers, and everybody in Nigeria will see how much you have actually paid. The supreme prices a lot of you have paid unknowingly. Families who are mourning their loved sons that have been taken by these terrorists, but Nigeria won't really acknowledge them. You understand what I mean? Like, apart from the fact that about 30% or more of your national budget goes into funding the fight against this terror, money that could have been used to improve infrastructures, to put into other programs that could actually touch lives, including the lives of the victims of this terrorism, who are living a hell of a life in refugee camps scattered all over the country. So they are taking so much money from you to fund this, but rather than reduce the entire violence, it seems like it's like the money is like fuel, like adding fuel to fire. So as Nigerian army soldiers who might probably see my video, this is part of things that goes through my mind when I, without being skeptical or, pessimistic rather, that did they ever imagine, right, what their sincerity could actually do in changing this entire war? Nigerians are being prepared to be killed. That's exactly what the Nigerian government and the Nigerian military are doing. They are concealing information that some people are feeling like, if these informations are available, and you know how valuable those information can be, why not use them and save lives? How difficult is that? They have killed thousands of Nigerian soldiers. There are people, there are families across Nigeria, the north, the west, the east, the Niger Delta, all over the country, who have had their own supposed men slaughtered by these terrorists. Maybe when they tell you and say, Imo State, in the last 15 years, to the war against the Boko Haram, Fulani terrorists, they lost 200 soldiers. Ogun State, they lost 200 soldiers. Lagos State lost 300. The Katsina State lost 400. And they begin to put numbers and they begin to put faces behind those names. Maybe every one of you will begin to understand the severity of what is going on and why those who are supposed to end it and why they continue to enable it by allowing the terrorists, the sympathizers, to openly advocate for them, despite all the destruction they've brought upon Nigeria. Begin to categorize it. How much Nigeria have lost in the last 10 years of this terrorism in Nigeria. Put number to it. Do you understand? Lives lost. That is the sincerity you need. Details, information that will help you understand that if anybody for any reason tells you that they should have peace deal or whatever they are doing with these guys, you will harm yourself and go after them, because you realize that there are those who are even more dangerous than this armed terrorists. So that's why I said that it may sound like, Maiyegun, you are sounding deluded, as if to say you don't understand why they will never do all of that. When they asked Buba Galadima, the Kwakwan Sub's political ally, he said it is better they just recolonize Nigeria. But who is going to recolonize Nigeria?
Alaji, what's the way forward? Either we like it or not, this is you and I, our country. We can't claim that we're Americans. We can't claim that we're from France. We are Nigerians. What is the way forward? You are a strong voice in another region. We've been condemning this government. We've been condemning several governments. What is the way forward? Security is all about you and I. It's not only for the government. So what is the way forward? We need a permanent solution, lasting solution to this, because everybody has had it up to here.
You elect to go the leaders when time comes.
How? With the electoral fraud going on?
You're asking me which way forward. I'm telling you.
How do we get this right? You've been in the system.
It's very simple now. It's very simple. Don't take their 200 naira and their Indomie.
When there's poverty on the land,
it's okay.
And
then
people keep saying, when you ask, when you tell them,
and suffer. Take it and suffer. You know that me, I'm not concerned with what is happening. All that I can do is to go to my farm and produce enough to eat.
You have a farm and you're not scared going to your farm because of the rising space of security.
If I stay at home, I die of hunger. If I go to the farm, if I'm lucky, I escape.
So you have to give words of encouragement to farmers so that we won't go.
They can't look at it. Even the farming has been destroyed by this government. They made massive importation. Do you know how much a bag of beans is costing? 25,000 naira. So how many bags of beans do you have to farm and sell and buy one bag of fertilizer?
That's serious. Now, Laji, back to my question.
Yes.
How do we get out of
government should stop selfishness and do the job.
How do they
do the job?
About it?
How do they do the job?
Excuse me.
I suggested they bring in mercenaries to sort out the country. If they can't bring in mercenary, let them ask Britain to come back and colonize us.
To colonize us, going back to 60
you don't know elder statesman Samu Mbakwe before his death. That's his suggestion, and I supported him then.
So you prefer for us to go back to
of course now days? They can sanitize the country, put us on the rule of law, and teach us democracy and good governance and stop corruption.
But you know the presidency cannot do this alone. The lawmakers, the presidency cannot do this alone. What about the lawmakers? What about the government?
No, forget about the judiciary, forget about the legislature, forget about the presidency. You, what's your priority in life?
My priority is to have peaceful environment.
So, does it matter
that I can go out tomorrow and not look my back or be suspecting my next door neighbor?
Does it matter whether it is a blue man or a black man or a yellow man that brings that peace to you and put food on the table? I'm a very patriotic person. That's why I have the guts to say this. You know that those in authority wouldn't like my guts. But they should be pleased, they should be happy that somebody can stand up and tell them what they need to do or what they are not doing and they should do. At the rate we are going, if the bandits have a communication among themselves, they can take over Abuja. If 500 motorcycles, 33 bandits on each motorcycle, from Lokoja, from Kaduna, and from Kefi, which military man will stop here to save you? Sheikh Gumi? I hope you know that Gumi was a soldier. You know? He was a captain or a major in the Nigerian army.
He can play a vital role to help out.
To help what?
Can he?
To help what? Who?
To help Nigerian government, of course.
Is Nigerian government interested in bringing peace? They don't need a Gumi. They should know what to do.
So you think Gumi is doing the right thing?
They don't need a Gumi. They know what to do. They don't want to do that because that doesn't bring money into the pocket.
Because he's still talking about negotiation.
No. You see, I think I better educate Nigerians. Even if we go to war, the end product is that we finish it on the table. But you have to put as much pressure as Trump is now putting on Nigeria to extract from the opponent. So, Gumi is a patriotic Nigerian who has a view. It may not resonate with me or you, but he remains a Nigerian with an alternative view to that of government. And let me tell you, if you are looking for the truth, ask your enemy or your opponent. Because from your sycophants and bootlickers, you will never get the truth.
Now to talk far. Ma okuta to wa nbe ma yoku nbe. Ma sabi gbata ba nsa ewa.
He didn't lie anyway. Out of all he said, right? That part when he said, if the terrorists, if they put 33 terrorists on a bike, 500 bikes, and they come from all sides, they could take over Abuja. But I just reasoned that one true. Do you want us to reason it for a moment? So those of us who are currently discussing this from the comfort of our own homes, just remember that there are those who have no homes anymore. They have no homes or anywhere to go to anymore in this whole thing, right? So from the comfort of these different homes all over the world, where we are right now. So just imagine that 2,000 terrorists invade Lagos. What do you really think would happen? I'm not saying maybe they will escape in that sense, but what do you really think will happen when you see about 3,000 armed terrorists coming from all angles? They are communicating. They are using their drones. Do you know they have drones too? Yeah, they do. They have drones. And guess what? With what we know, with all these security lapses that are already catching up with Nigeria today, I will explain that too. Security lapses. We believe from credible sources that these terrorists don't need to even migrate down to anywhere that much anymore. They've already established different cells. Those who are doing different jobs, those who are like working as pikemen and the rest of them, they are already there. They are only meant to be activated. That's why citizens have to be so extraordinary vigilant in this day and time. So when you notice something, don't keep it to yourself. Quickly tell somebody else as well. If it is worthy something to investigate right away in and around you, do not ignore it like you don't care, because that's the belief that they already are there. So imagine the kind of damages, the kind of destruction of lives and properties that will happen within that hour. And then don't forget, most of the time when they carry out these attacks, they won't attack Lagos. Don't worry yourself. Not in that sense, because Lagos is too crowded. They won't go back alive. I know that one. People will die. They will die too, all of them. And those ones that they will catch alive will likely wish that they were killed, like their colleagues. I can promise you that if they send 10,000 of them to Lagos, it is too crowded. They will end up getting choked in. However, don't forget that most of their operations are not carried out without the tactical withdrawals of the Nigerian military on many occasions. Do you understand? There have been reports where the terrorists and their movement have been noticed by the people, and they have alerted the security men around them, most especially the army, the soldiers, that we've noticed this and that too, yeah? So with the impression that, okay, this military, they are now aware, only for most of them to be withdrawn a day before these terrorists will attack them. So which gives the credence to, without the government involved or somebody up there pulling the string, most of these operations of these terrorists will never succeed the way they are succeeding. Because most of the time people actually know that they want to strike. And because they have nothing to fight with, so they raise the alarm through many mediums that they could send it out and seek help. But unfortunately, those messages never really get to those who should do something. Do you get me now? So their culpability. So that's why they're not going to attack Abeokuta. They're not going to attack maybe, yeah, they've done it in Akure, Ondo State, yeah. So Akure is the capital of Ondo. So you can't compare that. They can't do that in Ibadan. If they send 10,000 of them to Ibadan as well, I don't think a single one of them will live alive. You get what I mean? Like I said, people will die, but eventually, people will eventually round them up. It's going to turn to that, what you call war. None of them will live. So, and they don't do that. They don't go to places that is so populated. No. They always have their targets. You know, all these border towns, smaller communities, all those communities that most of them have been cut off from the rest of the world. They don't have any real motorable roads. They don't have any means of communication in most cases. And, you know, it is that bad that the terrorists always they survey around, they spy around, and when they want to strike, they know the help is not coming, not from anywhere. And they usually do that in the middle of the night. But these days, they have been attacking during the day now. The churches, they've kidnapped the people. They were during the day service, right? The school children they kidnapped, well, that one was overnight. You know? So without those who pull the string, the saboteurs within the military, and how can you find them? Very, very simple. You place soldiers here. Their job, they are not just there on vacation. They are there because there's a potential threat to the people living in that community. Their job is to neutralize that threat. That is the order. Then in the course of them acting on the last order, somebody pulled them back. How do you find saboteurs? So they pull them back, and then people get killed and kidnapped. Community get ransacked and destroyed. So how do you find out that person is saboteur? It's just for you to trace the order. Who gave that order? First, who gave you the order? Soldier? Or it was my superior? Who's your superior? Superior, captain. Okay, you, captain. Who gave you the order to withdraw these soldiers from that point, at that point? It was my superior. Who is your superior? Or area commander, whatever it is, right? Then once you get to the last person that actually gives the order, you don't sack the person only. You arrest them and charge them for terrorism. They will be responsible for those people killed in that community. And then you realize that such orders won't come again. But most of the time, we just talk about people being kidnapped, people killed, the terrorists did this, or they negotiated, they returned them. You are not looking into the real thing. You should. If they are interested in ending this, it's very simple. You are positioned there. Somebody said you shouldn't do your job. When you are hearing that these terrorists are shooting and killing, but you couldn't do your job, who gave you that order? Now people have been killed. That person should be charged, no matter their rank. Until that happens in the Nigerian military, this, like poverty in Nigeria, is to remain manageable. They will be managing it as it keeps growing and growing and growing and growing. And this one is not like even poverty. Okay? This one is feeding off poverty, corruption, and bad leadership. All joint. So it's like a hydra-headed. Until the people that gives them that immunity, amnesty, until they are put on the slaughter for their crime, this is not going to end. You get that? But that is not how those who are the senior Runukus sees it. To them, as long as Tifnumbu is president, nothing else matter. Because Tifnumbu believes that, people are believing that their future is secured with Tifnumbu if you remove insecurity. That is where you get to know people of low intelligence, okay? When they tell you that, you see, Nigeria is such a very, very nice place. If you remove the insecurity issue, and you're like, what are you talking about? How can somebody be a best place when you have insecurity? What is best in that place? You get what I mean? You can't say somewhere that place could have been. Don't say that. You can say, well, Nigeria was a very nice place until they brought in insecurity and terrorism. That would be a correct statement, I think. But saying Nigeria is a very lovely place, so if you remove the insecurity issue, what do you mean remove the insecurity issue? Do you know what the insecurity has actually caused? Destroyed Nigeria economy, impoverished Nigerians more. These guys successfully for a whole decade destroyed the agricultural sector of Nigeria. Like, they successfully did that. We were watching them destroying farms, slaying farmers, slitting their throats. Thousands of them have been killed. Farms have been so destroyed that for few places where people are managing to even farm, they are paying taxes to these terrorists before they could farm, before they could even harvest. And today, Nigeria, these guys are importing food to Nigeria. It's crazy, right? So if you think about it, it's not just about the killings, shooting and killing people. These guys have killed tens, hundreds of thousands of Nigerians, if not millions of Nigerians, through the destruction of the Nigerians' mainstay, the mainstay of Nigeria economy, agriculture. Or don't you think that in itself is a pure declaration of war? Before they started shooting the guns, right? The fact that the agenda to destroy the Nigerian food system is a declaration of war on the country. So nobody in government should by any means even be suggesting any peace deal with this terrorist. But not with the Ronukus, the senior one especially, like this one.
To endorse our son, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, for second term in 2027 as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We want to remind all of us the state of things in Nigeria when we have our former late president. And now Nigeria can now see that they have a future in spite of insecurity. We know that we are going to overcome the insecurity situation in Nigeria by the grace of God. We, the Yoruba community, Karojire, have been observing the excellent performance of these two men. We only want to thank others, like the Speaker of the House of Rep, Dr. Tajuddin Abbas, for all their efforts in supporting him. So we want to encourage all Nigeria to support President Ahmed Tinubu and to endorse him and to vote for him massively in the coming election in the year 2027. We will all live to reap the dividends of democracy as being led by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And we want to tell his enemies there is no point wasting your energy in fighting a man that God has chosen for this moment. This man is a God choice for Nigeria. and no man can remove him. Those who are planning coup plots, coup, and those that we have been hearing are coup plotter suspects. They will all fail, and they will fail tremendously. So I want to assure all of Nigerians that we know that no man can remove Tinubu. Any man trying it will fail. And we also want to let others know, especially Seyi Makinde, who has turned himself to be enemy of Yoruba people, that we endorse him for Kalakuta Republic in Kirikiri. He has borrowed over 300 billion for journey to a land of for a wasted journey. He wants to become president by coup by all means, and he keep on dividing the Yorubas, the traditional council of Oyo State, putting the head of Alaafin and Olubadan and Shoun against one another in order to become president by all means. We want him to go to the history and remember all those that betray Yoruba cause, how they ended. And we want him to retrace his step. But if he doesn't, we endorse him. There are many republics in Nigeria. There is a Kalakuta Republic, and we endorse him for Kalakuta Republic in 2027. Because all our money that is wasting, that we must have packed to use to fight Tinubu, he will give account of them after he leave his position as the governor of Oyo State.
ọ̀rọ̀ tó sọ yìí ọ̀ ń ṣeré ni àbọ̀ ń ṣe èrè. ọ̀rọ̀ tó sọ yìí ọ̀ ń ṣeré ni àbọ̀ ń ṣe èrè.
Obviously, ó ṣì èrè ni àwọn alátẹnujẹ àgbàlagbà. They have started again. Anybody that doesn't support Tinubu will be called enemy of Yoruba. So they are oiling it now. So get ready, all of you. Get ready. Including those of you that have become victims of this insecurity, apart from the economic hardship that you have been subjected to, all right? So to those of you who have become victims of this insecurity yourselves, and right now you have no clear answers to what he is actually doing. So be ready, get ready. They're going to call you Omoali. They are going to call you enemy of Yoruba. They will say, I want Yoruba, because if you are not for Tifnumbu, you are automatically enemy of Yoruba. So to those of you who are non-Yorubas, okay, this is also to remind you, in case if you have also forgotten, since you have been doing this, your tribal Olympics on social media, and it has also spread even offline. Here is also a reminder that those of you, this is in 2 ways, in fact 3 ways, remind me. The first one is that you see those of you that are genuinely like rejecting Tifnumbu for the fact that he is incompetent, corrupt, and well, you have seen how far they have taken Nigeria. Now, which is legit. You don't care whether it's a Yoruba or it's Igbo or it's Hausa, you don't care. This to you is that this is the most absurd, illegitimate regime you've ever seen. And they've shown it. They would rather do politics than do governance. Legito, they are, and you are non-Yoruba, they are going to say it is because you hate the Yorubas. That is why you are against Ifnumbu. So get ready. But before you, we who are Yorubas, we are famously called bastards. That is the English for Omoali. There are millions of Yorubas who have rejected Tifnumbu, right? But yeah, the corrupt electoral system that you have in that contraption aided and enabled him to this point, of course, and he didn't do it alone. But despite that, I should remind you that the violence they wished towards you, the hatred they have towards you, which is mostly engineered by these old fools in Yoruba land, right? That will tell you that no matter what it is our own. You understand? It's our own. Even if we are dying, So if they remove him now, they will now put another person. Do you think that person will care about you? Now you have a man there right now who have the responsibility, who have all the resources, who have all the needs to crush those who want to destroy his government. He's not doing that. He's enabling them. He appointed a terrorist sympathizer, somebody who is funding terrorism when he was governor. He appointed him as minister, right? But despite that, these old fools, they won't say the truth that way, that it is Tifnumbu himself that is destroying his own government by surrounding himself with praise singers, questionable characters, people that should be in jail, plus himself, people that should be in jail are now in position of authority, enabling all kinds of criminal activities, including terrorism. And Tifnumbu has no will to go after them. Our lives are in danger right now. But as a Yoruba man, you are not expected to say that. Forget all of that. He must remain the president. So if they remove him now, is he Shetima? Is he Obi? Is he Obi now? So you think the Igbos are going to love you? But this is not even about love or hate now. Tifnumbu has the power to keep us safe. Anybody who is, or everyone who is working against that, Tinubu has the power to crush them because his name is what everybody will be mentioning. It is Tinubu everybody is calling right now. Abi, no so. Everybody is saying Tinubu, Tinubu, Tinubu. Abi. Now, this Tinubu has the power to see those who are making all of us scream his name and get rid of them. But rather, he keeps loading his regime with all these questionable criminals. Today, terrorists are having field day. You are watching them, but somebody will tell you, if you say no to it, you are Omoale Yoruba. So get ready. They call us Omoale because of this druggy certificate forger. You understand? So if you are now a non-Yoruba, who doesn't even care whether the person is Yoruba or not, whether it's Muslim or Christian, you don't care. You are assessing him based on his performance, not what the praise singers are saying, not the excuses they are giving. They will say it's because you hate the Yorubas. So get ready. And to those of you who are even supporting him, you are non-Yorubas, but you are supporting him, right? Just also get ready that despite all your support, they are still going to call you and your people enemies of Yoruba. I am talking about those of you who are the APC, Egbekegbe members, especially in the middle belt part of Nigeria and to the eastern part of Nigeria, up to the Niger Delta part of Nigeria. They have APC there. Some of their state governors are now APC, by the way. But despite their involvement, their supposed support for Ashiwaju, the Ronukus are still going to accuse you and your people of unfaithfulness. They will still say they can't trust you. Now, those who are going to fuel that, they are already at work. I just thought I should remind you, like the video you just watched. All those old fools like that, they are everywhere. The only weapon they have is to, is to push tribal, ethnic sort of narratives away from the real problem. And what is the real problem? Either by the commission or omission, which in this instance, we cannot even say commission or omission, but we're going to say collusion. Out of collusion of the people in government, protecting terrorists, explaining away why we have to kind of like, understand them, right? Has shown that Tifnumbu is on the side of the terrorist. It's now upon him to prove us wrong enough that any reform he says he is doing, which is in itself pure propaganda and falsehood. But that's not the key conversation tonight. Insecurity has put everybody's lives in danger. And the right thing to do by everyone right now is to make him do his job. And if he's not going to do it, it is right for you to say, okay, you know what, we don't want you anymore. Rather than begin to now have that sentiment of, Nigeria has always been like that. Imagine older people telling the younger people that Nigeria has always been like that. Here you get, just pray to God to protect you. How can you say God protect me when the terrorists killing us are more protected than us? Do you get what I mean? What do you want God to do? Perform miracle and what? Every day people are getting kidnapped. That doesn't really augur well. So rather than push this tribal, ethnic, whatever that they are already pushing, calling people Omwali, enemy of Yoruba, the real enemies of Yoruba land are those who see the truth, but they ignore it and fail to tell Tifnumbu the truth. And what is that truth? If Tifnumbu is from Yoruba land, even if he is so selfish as he is known, his selfishness at least should cover the same people who share the same either tribe or ethnic with him to some extent. Even though that in itself is actually like unfair to say. But I'm just saying, they are selfish, aren't they? Right? But their selfishness is just for themselves. They don't give a damn whether you are Yoruba or Muslim or Igbo or any, they don't give a damn. They are trading on our blood. So anybody pushing tribal, ethnic, whatever, as you go forward, should be considered as the enemy of the people, in my own opinion. Meanwhile, in furtherance of his response to Donald Trump's statement, right? Oh, hang on, I should have said that. The Minister of Defense, former governor of Jigawa, is that Jigawa or Kebbi? Oh my God, now Jigawa. Badaru has resigned from his position as defense minister under Tifnumbu, making him the first person to resign, a defense minister to resign in the middle of war. You know, and it seems like the terrorists are pretty much winning anyway. So Badaru has resigned. More details from that later. So they said the Nigeria image is sort of like hit the rock bottom internationally, right? Nigeria's diplomatic presence have been so damaged over the years. They dwindled and dwindled and dwindled until it becomes a sort of a political gift for the political anger-ons. So Tifnumbu appointed now, I think 3 plus 33, that's about 30, 36, 10 plus 2, that's 38. He's appointed about 38 ambassadors now. You know, clowns, called jesters, praise singers, and what have you, to go abroad and represent Nigeria. You know, I don't want to go into them much, but one person that stood out in all of this is the former immediate past INEC chairman, and that is Yakubu Mumudu. Yakubu committed a sacrilege, right? Botched what was supposed to have been, you know, close to normal electoral experience for many, many people who voted for the first time. He botched it. He gave them hope that technology will be involved in their charade in 2023, only for him to pull that out in the middle of the game. Now, he left ingloriously. However, people thought he was just going to disappear into the oblivion. Nobody's going to hear from him again. But that won't be until Tifnumbu submitted his name to the National Assembly as to be considered as an ambassador, a non-career ambassador. What do you really think that looked like? But to an average corrupt-minded Nigerian, right? And so, what is if he says that this is needed somewhere? Well, I know morality is dead anyway. But here is this guy, Dati, the senior one, Akim Dati, right? Saying, well, I mean, Tifnumbu could appoint anybody he wanted, right? But is Mahmoud Yakubu aware that he's been appointed as an ambassador? Like, how does that even look?
Are you surprised by Professor Mahmoud Yakubu's name on that list?
Yes, but let me qualify that. I don't know if Professor Yakubu has been consulted, and if he had said yes. I think he might have been. I think the world of Professor Yakubu. I think he's one of the most intelligent, one of the most hardworking, one of the most committed people. We were in the university together. He was actually my student, a student in my class in Sokoto. And I've never known him to be anything but the best. I don't know whether he had been contacted and he said yes. 3-4 months after I leave the chairmanship of INEC, I would like to be an ambassador. I don't know. But there are
I'm talking about the proprietary of it. this is just someone who there are a lot of those who are discontent about the 2023 elections, and who will say the person who will superintend your election as president, how will it be interpreted? Because in law, there are a lot of times, even when you deliver justice, they say it has to be seen to be. When you would have done it, but the perception of it is what some people are talking about. And it's not quite the only one. There are people who have raised eyebrow and criticized. Those people who at Reno Makri's name have come up, Femi Fanikade's name have come up. There are those who belong to the G5 former governors who worked for this government when they were governors and who are no longer governors. So there are a lot of people who are political and wives of former allies, and there are those who have raised eyebrows. There are those who are also saying, would you rather appoint your enemies or those who come from space?
Let me just speak about Yakubu. My hope is, I hope Professor Mahmoud Yakubu was consulted. I hope he has given this thorough thinking, and I hope he's not making a mistake.
Nation, on this one, thumbs up or thumbs down as far as appointments under this Tinubu government is concerned?
I think the spread is bad. Absence of some sensitivity to spread is bad. I've seen people there, to be honest with you, have come so far into politics. I don't see what values they will add as ambassadors outside our country. He has left it too late. This is too little, too late. I'm not too sure what they will do, and yet there are countries where we desperately need presence.
The presence, yeah.
Like you said, we need to be there now. Now.
Are you surprised by Professor Mahmoud Yakubu?
So you're going to have all your ambassadors. Some people are already saying that. Sorry, you see this one on your screen? I have a story to tell you about him. Just a short one, all right? But some people are already saying that maybe Tinubu want to give Reno Makri the El Rufai's treatment. That one that they will nominate they will send your name, but the Senate will just reject you. And I'm like, all of you should give it up, right? You have no idea why Tinubu does his things, right? He believes that, you see all these guys he's giving all these appointments to, right? They owe him. And if you have read that this 48 laws of power, something that shouldn't be happening, in the case of Nigeria, like it shouldn't be, it should not make such diplomatic appointments or any other appointment like that, critical appointments for that matter. You should not trivialize them in a way that you have to share them like candies to your praise singers, to this all these characters anyway. Sure you get. But to Tinubu, it's about power. It is never about all these other things you are talking about. No. It is only Tinubu that will see somebody who is what do you call that thing again? A repairer, refrigerator repairer. What are you doing? See, I'm a repairer. What kind of job what kind of work do you do? And he said, I'm a refrigerator repairer, sir. Refrigerator repairer. Did you go to school? Not that much, sir. Okay, it doesn't matter. What is your name? Okay, that's your next House of Assembly member. That's it. Now that's Tinubu. It's not about, but when he needs those ones, he wants to put where money is. Here you get now, like grab asset here and there. He will pick the professionals, and he will now groom them for that particular thing he wants them to do. And that is what Tinubu does. For anything else, all these things you are doing, ambassador about Reno, Shewalish ambassador. Yeah, yes, I can do ambassador. Say, yeah, okay. But it's ambassador no here. I'll send your name. That's how Tinubu does his own thing. You can sit down and now you can be like, you, it was that one that is talking there. Yeah, go there. What is your name? My name is Agbabiak Agbabiole. Right. Show the ones as I'm estate agent, sir. Estate agent. Koruko Esile on the next senator, Lagos West. That's how he does his own thing. Well, maybe not like that. But that's how much like Tifnubu doesn't have to be like, yay, you are you went to Harvard. You went to Harvard, like get out of here. You don't have street vibe. That's for Kolu. So that's exactly what he's replicating at the federal level. Is politics for those who knows him very well. Like myself, I know him to some extent. Right? Anyway, talking about the thieves. You see this one? Is the guy that gave the fraudulent intel. This is Malamu, the former Attorney General or Minister of Injustice under Bakare. He was the one who gave the fraudulent intel to the secret police of Kenya that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, whenever they see him in Kenya, they should consider him as a threat because he is there to meet with the Al-Shabaab. And it was on that fraudulent intel that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu got abducted by Kenya secret police in 2021. So when they found out that Nnamdi Kanu had nothing, no link to any terror group or any other group for that matter, so they told him, and he said, could you please let me go then? And like, you've had me in this same position for nearly a week. They said, sorry, we can't do that. It was Nigeria that gave us this intel. And of course, it is useless, but they said they still want you. So it was that evening that they took Nnamdi Kanu to Jomo Kenyatta International Airport on a private jet straight to Abuja. Now the man went on to give a breaking news like a nationwide broadcast in Hausa to tell the Sultanate, the Fulanis and their other sponsors that they've captured Nnamdi Kanu, more like a trophy, and they celebrated it so well. But why is he on your screen? Well, he was arrested throughout the last week, to the point that when he was first invited by the EFCC. Why was he invited by the EFCC and arrested by the EFCC? If you have been on Maiyegun's diary Politico for a while, you'll remember this story because I kept repeating it. I kept talking about it. I realized that is the only way we can cure Stockholm syndrome, which many Nigerians suffers from. Do you understand? But when you keep reminding them and reminding them, it won't go out of your mind. Malamu was a great thief. In 2015, in fact, in 2014, when Goodluck Ebele was your president, they had this, negotiation, right, with the few countries holding Abacha's loot. They were talking about refunding and returning the loot at the time. Then they were at the neck of receiving the loot, Abacha loot, which at the time, the total of the loot they finally got back in the name of Abacha loot under Bakare in 8 years, we say it was like over $4.6 billion. Don't get me wrong. Malamu is not in the Ministry of Finance. It doesn't work with the economic this or that. You understand? So when Jonathan was about to leave, it was for the government to just give this UK as well as Switzerland, and I think US as well, and one other country, to just give them account where they should pay that returned loot, Abacha loot, into. Then Ebele Jolantan lost his own re-election. Bakare came in. For several months, when Bakare didn't appoint any minister or whatever, the conversation stalled, or the conclusion of that stalled. Somebody from the office of the Attorney General, he has to kind of like also sign it out, like approve all the agreements, every other thing in there, look at all the legal blah, 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 advise the government, and then sure you get, say, well, we are clear. So by the time Bakare appointed his minister or his ministers, Malamu was appointed as Attorney General, the Minister of Justice. What did Malamun do? Immediately he resumed office and he found that same file on his table, on his desk. Malamun first cancelled that negotiation in a way that they needed to put together a team that will represent Nigeria to review all the agreed terms, all the they need to review it. He did not use all the paid lawyers in the office of in the Ministry of Justice. That's the Minister of Justice. So the Ministry of Justice is where you're going to see all kinds of lawyers for all kinds of laws. Do you understand? Local and international. They are paid on the payroll of government. However, because that will make them money, these criminals then have to like contract it out, bring in a consultant of lawyers who will then act on behalf of Nigeria, not the minister now, on behalf of Nigeria, to review all these agreements or this document with an agreed payment term of, listen to it, 18% of every dollar returned. Mind you, in the same government, oh, hang on, that was governor then. I wanted to talk about your current Minister of Economic Planning. But anyway, let's leave that. Malamu, in collusion, using his office, negotiated 18% for this consultant for already concluded deal. So when these return funds were being returned, automatically, Nigeria was paying this Malamu's consultant. That's how he made himself hundreds of millions of dollars. Among other things, though, this is what the EFCC is now, they said they are investigating $918 million. The money Abacha loot that was returned. The media are now saying, if this is what they say they are looking for, they are stupid. That means if you are reading it, that Malamu got arrested. Baba, this one went for photo shoot. Oh. EFCC invited him. He went for photo shoot. He now posted this image to tell all of us that he will be attending EFCC invitation soon. Like this. Oh. She launched a photo shoot to pay EFCC invited. Obviously, that was what he was doing. Okay. So Malamu did not receive $918 million from Nigerian Abacha loot. It is completely misleading. Whether the media intentionally did that or not, no. If what EFCC is asking is, maybe they are asking for the 18% Malamu's office got for his consultant from one of the looted money that was returned, $918 million. What is the 18% of $918 million? Whatever your answer is, should be what the EFCC is asking Malamu for, because the money was not even paid to him. Yeah, that's the perfect corruption there. The money was not paid to him. All he did is just to say, I did my job. I put together a team that negotiated the return of the looted fund. That's the story, but that's not the story. The agreement was already done. Everything was in place. It was just for Nigeria to text the account number and say, send it to this account number. That's it. Then sign the papers that said, okay, we agreed to this and this and this, and we return the money in tranches. That's what you have to, you don't need any middlemen anymore. But that's the corruption. He created that. Those ones now acted like they are the ones who negotiated the money to be refunded. And they have to be paid. Yeah, that's the corruption. They will tell you they did the job. Yeah, we saw the documents, we make some and we got paid. You got paid how much? Nigerians' money looted from Nigerians. So, yeah, your money where they looted, though, hid abroad. Money from some of these states stolen by Abacha and his crew. Your money. Then some people put themselves as negotiators, middlemen, to have a cut for helping you to get the money back. That is the corruption. You see, somebody don't do them. $162 million. So if Malamu's consultant got $162 million from a $980 million return loot, think about what they got from over $4 billion that was returned in 80 years under Bukwari in 7 years. Think about that. So Malamu made so much money in this regard, but that money is legit in this sense. They will say it's legit, but it is corrupt money. Corruption in brackets, in capital letter. So he got released, and immediately he came back from the ESC detention after a few days there. Baba, video nisha.
Will always prevail. We are constructive. We are never destructive. We will remain constructive. We will continue to construct, and they will fight injustice. We will fight destruction. We will promote construction. We will promote support for the development of the nation and the development of Kebbi State. I thank you.
He wants to be the governor of Kebbi State in 2027. His children, they are multi-billionaires. His own children. They have a park in Abuja after this guy became minister. This one are just like a roadside charge and bill. Okay, don't let me diminish him. I think it was his son practicing somewhere in Kebbi. Then he became Minister of Justice of Nigeria. The guy became stinkingly rich. Like rich. His own children alone, they are billionaires. They will tell you this one is owned by Malami's son. They have a huge theme park where you can like have this basketball, have skating this, have a cycling field, have a football court. They have all this lawn tennis court. They have this cafe, built by his son, not him, owned by his own son. In Abuja, they will tell you, go there. Those who live in Abuja will tell you. This was after he became minister. So now he wants to go and be governor of Kebbi State. And he believes that some of his enemies are the ones who are coming after him. Here you get. Because you will not really trace all that money to him, the way he acted. He's a lawyer, right? By creating all these false consultant, awarding them this contract and clearing them out in such a way that you can't really trace all these billions to him directly. That's what they are doing. In case if you don't know. So now he's free, and he's telling us that we'll fight injustice, we'll fight this, just like Oba Donkey of Edo. If you have been following Edo State politics, hang on, let's have a minute break. Please take a moment and like the broadcast if you haven't already. All right? Yeah, like the broadcast, share the broadcast, subscribe to my channel. Whatever I say to you, there are things you can go out there and cross-check yourself. They are not fancy things that you can be like, is that true? Is that really true? Stop acting like that. Some will be like, how do you know all of this? What do you mean, how did I know all of this? Why do you think this is called the diary? Do you think we just come here to come and like waste our time by talking about trash or whatever? No. I am here because I am expected to know. And I'm not like somebody who knows everything. But you know something? I am someone who knows something about everything. But that's fair. I am not that greatly like intelligent the way you see it. But some will say, no, that's intelligence, right? You are not going to be like somebody who will claim to know everything. No. I always train myself, or I've trained myself to know something about everything. Curious, ask questions, do some mental gymnastic where you're just going to sit down and be like imagining things, and then you just get so worked up like, yeah, the one that you just feel so tired. I said, why are you so tired? He said, I don't know. Not like you have been breaking rocks or you have been digging wells, but you just feel like I am just mentally tired. Because you have no idea what goes on in there. That's got to be processed. Because I trained myself to know something about everything. Remain curious. So yeah, all this information are very much public. They are publicly available. But most of the time, a lot of us just read the headlines. You never really read further. Because who has that much time? Who they read news? And that gives room to that gives room for people manipulators, liars, gaslighters, blackmailers to fill in the gap, twist the story, right? And then if you, by any chance, fail to buy it, then they'll gaslight you, blackmail you again, and say, you know, you need to pay attention. So the brethren in the temple of truth expects me to know. So that's why I got to know about all of that, you know. But yeah, in the last few months, we have seen the supposed supporters of Okpeodoyo, the Dodoyo governor of Edo State. And he himself, you know, he's been seen or he's been caught on camera severally, made a direct threat towards Obaseki, the former governor. It got to a point whereby Albert, a supposed supporter of Obaseki, was, you know, assaulted in Manchester, and even Obaseki himself was also prevented from, you know, attending a meet and greet they organized for him in that same city. So yesterday, Obaseki, right, finally addressed that, and his message is that people should warn Okpebolo, that telling him that he can't come back to Edo State and all those kind of threats, you know, intimidating his own supporters and all of that stuff, right? Should stop. I don't want to speak for him.
I made some comments yesterday in Birmingham, and I heard there was some reaction. I said, okay, that's fine, but you haven't seen anything yet.
Hey,
you see, I said, those who live by the sword die by the sword. And to tell the governor, or whatever he calls himself, I don't know him, I've never met him, that when you start with violence, you will reap. Because for 1 year since I left office, I didn't say one word, I didn't do anything. I said, look, let me respect myself, let me give them an opportunity to also try. So go and find out, you will see one thing I said about that government. For 1 year, from November 12th when I finished till this past November, I didn't say one thing. Then suddenly, you and the past organized, you go, you attack diplomats who came to watch exhibition in Moa. You send people singing and threatening me. Go and watch those clips and the kind of things they were saying about me. Threatening me between the government and the palace. That was not enough. The government paid people to come to Manchester to attack me. And they slapped Albert. So who has started this violence? Is it me? No. Last week, or this week, this governor, or whatever he calls himself, had a disgraceful press conference where he was threatening me. Somebody born in Oredo, this is a villager, telling me that I cannot come to Benin. That when I come to Benin, you show me. Me. Yorubas say, when I'm ready to go, we all come. It's an insult. I didn't say he cannot go to his village wherever he comes from. He's coming to threaten you. That will tell you that where they have gone to mentally. So he's been threatening violence. So if now I respond, nobody should hold me responsible. Because it is clear, I can't leave myself empty to be hurt and attacked by deranged people like that. So I'm going to fight back. I'm giving them a notice. I will fight back. Hey! Don't cast! I didn't start the fight. Look at the clowns they paid to come and disrupt this event. Junkies. And they call themselves a government. Junkies. And because they are afraid, they know they did not win the election. I was in INEC that day and I saw what they did. Shameful.
I mean, he said they've been sending threats, violence his way and all that. So everybody can see that they are the ones doing it too. And that was him addressing his own supporters too, by the way, in the UK. He also has a message. He had a message for Pastor Izenyamu. Yeah, you remember him?
But what is more painful, and the last message I want you people to take home, go and warn Pastor Izenyamu. Go and warn the Nisi Hausa. They are Edo Benin people. They are harassing the investors in Oriomo and Ovia because they want to take the land and give people for palm oil. They want to land grab it. Okemolo is doing what he's doing because he has Benin people around him asking him to do it. He doesn't have the guts. He doesn't have that to do the things he wants to do, things he's doing on his own. He is being prodded. And he will regret it. Because I work with these people. They could not get any access to me. That was why they were bitter. Now they think they have access and they will pull the man down and pull the house down. So don't blame him too much. Because first he doesn't have anything there. Who he feels are helping him have an agenda to bring him down. I know it. I know them. I know how they behave. But we cannot give up. We cannot give up. The best of Edo still exists. And it is you. We will talk, I mean, there's no way where those who don't know leads those who know and will go somewhere.
No.
Is it possible?
No.
So by the grace of God, what we are going through is just temporary. And we will organize. When it's time, we will let you know. Well, last message is be together. Be united. Stay together. Build your networks. One common purpose. You have not come here to live forever. You are hoping to go back home one day. You are hoping that you can also lift your people back home. Don't give up that hope. There's an agenda, there's a plan, and we'll succeed. Thank you.
Tiagasa, the Tiagasa, he fell, he fainted, he passed out. He passed out. 70 years old man. But when their people came.
So that's Obaseki in Manchester. So right now, they are calling him a governor in exile. He's not just ex-governor. He's a governor in exile. That's what the Okwebulu and others are calling him. And that's in Edo. So just a couple of months back, Tifnubu lifted what he called the state of emergency on River State. Fulbara was returned, and so was the State House of Assembly, the Speaker and the rest of them. So the agreement at the time, or the peace deal at the time, was that they will all go back and work together, and there will be no fight again, but there may be fight soon, just so you know. Here is their Speaker, talking about a 600 billion naira left behind by the sole administrator before Fulbara took over. And right now, schools are underfunded. Hospitals, the whole state is currently like on a lockdown, whatever that means, right? Here is Omawule, the Speaker, talking about the Fulbara and the state. It's called graveyard peace. You know the last. Trust me.
Public schools in River State, particularly at the primary and secondary level, are generally in a deplorable condition. It's a fact. The reason is because of abandonment by people who are supposed to be doing the needful. As at yesterday, the House Committee Chairman on Education found out that one teacher is teaching 2 classes. 2 classes are in one classroom being taught by one teacher. Primary 1 and 2. So the teacher will teach primary 1 small, a little, while primary 2 is listening to primary 1 class. Then primary 1 will stop listening, while the teacher will teach primary 2. Maybe they are blocking their ears, and they are in the same classroom. no toilets, no electricity, yet that school is sharing fence with the PhD headquarters. No light, no electricity, no security. That same school is directly opposite the police headquarters. Meanwhile, vandals have taken over the school. They destroyed the little facilities they had before now. The worst of it is that upon what we said when this motion came up, nothing has happened. The Rivers State Executive Council has not done anything. They have done nothing to remedy the situation. This is a sad commentary. Something has to be done to our schools, for our children, for the future of these states. Our primary schools and secondary schools cannot remain like this. They cannot remain without teachers. When the last administration was leaving, the plan for the employment of people, I think 10,000 staff across the state, took place, interviews. What has happened? People were not employed. But when it is time for protest, funds will come for people to go and protest. When it is time to employ teachers and make teachers to be in the classrooms, there will be no money. We cannot continue to keep quiet. We cannot continue to fold our arms while our children continue to suffer, while teachers continue to cry. How would anyone believe that in the year 2025, in a state like Rivers State, one teacher will be teaching 2 classrooms under one roof? How will anyone believe that a school that is very close to the government house, in the year 2025, that pedestrians will be called to come and teach people because there are no teachers? This is an abomination. It is an aberration, and it is unacceptable. Something has to be done. We will not allow this indolence to continue. We are the only people mandated by law to fight for our people, fight for our parents. Parents are crying. The complaints we are getting, the pictures they are sending to us are coming from parents, from township school too. The other day, somebody went to a school in Eche and saw children inside the classroom with even weed on their roof. How the weed went to the roof and they are letting on that, I don't imagine. I'm trying to remember the name of that community now. It's appalling. Is it that we don't have funds in the states? Of course we have. As at the time the administrator Ibas was leaving, he left over 600 billion naira in the accounts of River States. Over 600 billion by October. Can such funds be used to remedy the situation in our schools?
I told you, Wala Matubere, like, but Wala go start again. You go soon they hear the noise from River State again. How that is going to play out this time, I don't know. So Fulbara subtly responded by saying that, yeah, they have frozen the employment wherever now, but the state is getting better. Investors are coming in. Ladies and gentlemen, Fulbara.
As of today, since after this peace has been done, investment confidence has been built. It has returned in the state. People are coming to say, look, we're interested in investing in this area, we're interested in investing in that area. And with those investments, jobs will be created. And let me use this video to address the issue. I saw some set of people sending messages to my WhatsApp. They want to invest for 10,000 jobs and they were employed, documented, and they were even provided for in the budget. I don't know which budget that's the provided job. I was saying here, I said it before, we are going to employ, but we are going to employ based on the needs of these states. Do we have teachers? No. Do we have doctors? they are insufficient. So I'm not going to make employment politically because I want to please everybody. No. Employment will be based on the need of the state. And I assure you, as soon as we conclude the issue of 2026 budget, which will take a greater chunk, the budget is going to take a greater part, chunk of the for schools, because we've done enough in the road, we've done enough in the hospital. The hospital cannot never be enough, but we've done this is what is there. But schools are the major areas where we are going in our 2026 budget. And after that, employment people. Do you employ people?
The great youth of Nigeria.
Great.
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 Greatest, yo.
Yo. Anyway, brethren, thank you very much for your time this evening, okay? And another time we're going to have to take calls, okay? But tonight, I am rushing somewhere again, right? So thank you very much for your time. Like the broadcast, share it. If you joined us late, you can just kind of like move the arrow back and watch it from the start. I am going to see you another time, all right? Until then, thank you very much for watching, okay? Do not change the dial. Okay, so good night.
Maiyegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Maiyegun dayari Maiyegun number one. Maiyegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Maiyegun dayari Maiyegun number one. Maiyegun ti dé o ọ̀rẹ́ ara ìlú. Maiyegun dayari Maiyegun number one. Lórí Facebook lórí YouTube. Maiyegun dayari Maiyegun number one. Gbogbo bó ṣe ń lọ ni Maiyegun já wa sí. Maiyegun dayari Maiyegun number one. Àṣírí ọ̀jẹ̀lú kì í bò níbẹ̀ o. Maiyegun dayari Maiyegun number one. Bó bá ṣe eré àní Maiyegun máa wí. Maiyegun dayari Maiyegun number one. Ó sì tún ṣe eré wàá gbọ́ níbẹ̀ o. Maiyegun dayari Maiyegun number one. Maiyegun dayari Politico. Maiyegun dayari Maiyegun number one. Godfatherism kò sí lọ́rọ̀ Maiyegun. Maiyegun dayari Maiyegun number one. Ẹ farabalẹ̀ sẹ́ o kẹgọ́rọ̀ lẹ́nu o. Maiyegun dayari Maiyegun number one. Àní Maiyegun làwa mọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Maiyegun dayari Maiyegun number one. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Maiyegun ti dé. Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Lórí Facebook. Maiyegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Lórí YouTube. Maiyegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Bọ́ bàbá gbé wúrẹ́. Maiyegun máa wí. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Ijó ìgbádìyẹ. Maiyegun máa wí. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Bí pẹ̀sìdó bá rúfin o. Maiyegun máa wí. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Bí gómìnà kówó jẹ. Maiyegun máa wí. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Ọlọ́pàá ti ń darí bá. Maiyegun máa wí. Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Maiyegun ti dé. Aṣòfin tí ń rúfin o. Maiyegun máa wí. ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì. Maiyegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀ súnra kì. Maiyegun ti dé. Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì. Maiyegun ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ọmọ bá dé.